Hey guys, welcome to RK Living. Well, that looks good. What are you making today, Kyle?
So today we are making an olive oil bundt cake with the pecan streusel with a brown butter glaze. It is so freaking good.
This pecan?
Those are pecans. They're toasted. They're delicious. Amazing. So this recipe actually was inspired, and the base comes from Antoni cookbook, Antoni in the Kitchen. One of my favorite books. I've learned a lot from this. So it's his base recipe. I've done a few tweaks on it myself, but it's a winner for sure.
Well, I do not know how to bake, so I'm going to let you bake, and I'm going to go around taking photos and asking you questions.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
All right, let's
Am I
get
supposed to
started.
leave, or what?
Yeah, go on. You're good. I got this. All right. So first things first, here in front of me, we're going to make the streusel. This is going to go in the middle of the bundt cake. It gives it that crunch. It gives it that earthiness with some of the spices we have. So here I have about a cup and a half. I'll have the measurements in the description of pecans. Now you can crack your own pecans. You can buy them in the bag. You can buy them already chopped. Definitely cheaper to chop them yourself, but like me, I'm a little bit lazy, so they're already chopped. What you do want to do, no matter where you get your nuts from, is that you want to toast them for about 5, maybe 10 minutes in the oven. You don't want to burn them, but it just really develops the flavor, brings out that nuttiness and the toastiness, and really takes up your cake a notch. So to start off, we have the nuts, the pecans. We got about a half a cup of dark brown sugar. Dark brown is definitely my favorite. It's just richer, more flavor. We have about 3.5 tablespoons of melted butter. I actually use salted butter. I know a lot of bakers out there are probably saying don't do that because you can't really control the salt intake. But I use the same brand of Irish butter all the time, so I'm aware of how much salt is in it, and I can adjust the ratio to my liking. To that, we're going to add cinnamon. Instead of a half a teaspoon of salt, I use 1/4 of a teaspoon because the butter is already slightly salted. And this isn't in the original recipe, but I add a little bit of nutmeg to it. This is about 1/4 of a teaspoon of nutmeg just to bring out some of those earthy flavors. So that all goes in here, and just get in with your hands, break up the sugar. You can use a fork, but I mean, who cares? It's your cake. You just get in there. Best tools are your hands, and we're just gonna mix all this up. Like I said, this is the streusel part, and it's gonna go in the middle of the cake, so when you cut it open, it just falls out, and you see those layers of pecans and cinnamon and sugar, and it's just delicious. So we got that. And that looks good. You just want to get it all mixed up. It doesn't have to be perfect. There's a big clump of sugar. You just want to break that up. So, it looks like that. Easy peasy. So get this out of our way. We'll come back to that later and we wash up. Alright, so we got that out of the way. So now I'm going to grab the dry ingredients to get that started. So what we have here is we have 2 cups of flour. To that, we're going to add some salt, cinnamon, and baking powder. Just throw that all in there together. Let me grab a whisk, and we're going to get this all whisked up. You don't really have to sift this recipe because it's a bundt cake. Now, if I was making a chocolate cake, a vanilla cake, red velvet, I would definitely sift all of this just to get that light, fluffy texture. But with the bundt cake, it's not quite as important. So just a good whisk to mix up all that baking powder and the salt and cinnamon, just to make sure it's evenly distributed, like that. Perfect, easy, right? So now we're going to start with the wet ingredients. So I have some granulated sugar. I like to use pure organic cane sugar. You can definitely use white sugar. That's all you have. It's no big deal. The measurements are the same. I think this is about 1.5 cups. And to that, we have, of course, the star of the show, olive oil. Now you don't want to go cheap on your olive oil on this one because that's what the cake is. It's an olive oil cake. You want to get a really good quality. I prefer to get one that originates from South America. They tend to be a little more fruity, at least the one that I use. The ones you use maybe to cook some Italian food or sauteing are a little heavy on that. They're more earthy and they're really heavy, which is okay if you're going for that. But in the cake, I like more of the fruitier range of olive oil. So we have a cup of that, sugar, and lemon zest. This is the zest of 1 regular size lemon. I mean, I don't know how you measure lemons, large lemon, medium lemon. It's the zest of a lemon, no big deal, right? So to that, in my mixer, you can definitely whisk this by hand, but I like to use a mixer because, you know, I do the extra work. So I have the olive oil, pour that in there. Beautiful, it's like liquid gold. Add the sugar. All that in there. And the lemon zest. This just brings like just that liveliness to it and just gives it a little sweetness of lemon. I love citrus flavors in recipes and everything. And we're going to add 3 eggs. course, you can crack them in a bowl and then transfer them over, but I've baked enough. If I drop a shell, I can just pick it out. I mean, come on, let's be real here. Who doesn't do that? No one's perfect. And we are going to beat this until everything is incorporated, at least 2 minutes. You can't really overdo mixing, but you can underdo it. A lot of people want to rush it and just do it really quickly, and they don't get everything incorporated. They don't get the air, they don't get all the sugar dissolved, so at least 2 minutes for this part. Don't skimp on it, and we'll be back when it's mixed up.
Good. I'll cut that in.
Did y'all see that? Was that in frame of you stealing some of my pecan streusel? Now the whole measurements are off. Because I've already taken a handful. And you took another handful.
It's a pecan mini streusel.
Okay, I'll make it work. I'll make it work. Alright, so another thing you definitely want to do is, about halfway through or so, you see some of it kind of creeping up the sides. You want to definitely scrape that down. You don't want any of that sugar to linger on the edges up here. You definitely want to get it. Because even with this one, it has the scraper attachment, but it never gets exactly everything. It helps, but it doesn't get it all. So just stop, scrape it down, make sure things, you know, become one big happy family in there, and give it a little bit more of a whip. Alright, so now at this point, I'm going to add in the sour cream. I think this is like 2/3 of a cup. And we're going to add that in here. This just gives it a little bit of, bit of a tang and keeps it, dare I say, moist. As if the olive oil doesn't do that already, but the sour cream really just adds an extra layer to that. And another little variation from the recipe I'm doing is with the lemon that I zested earlier, is I'm just going to squeeze a little bit of that juice, make sure there's not any seeds in there, but just not even the full half, just a few little drizzles, just to really bump up that zest of that lemon flavor. So close that and give another mix. Not 2 minutes. This is just to where it's incorporated. You don't have to do this very long. All right, so that's good. Definitely want to give it a scrape down. Oh, this is looking good. That off. And now we're going to add the dry ingredients that we already whisked up and everything. So those just go right in. Get all of them in there. I cannot believe I did that without spilling any flour. Oh my gosh, I'm such a pro, right? Typically that doesn't happen, you just spill everywhere. But it's been a good day so far. So yeah, we're just going to mix this just until it's mixed. You don't want to over-mix this part. This you can over-mix. You don't want to develop too much gluten in the flour. So just 20 seconds, probably the most. Just watch it. Once you see everything come together where there's no more flour streaks, stop. You can even do this by hand, but like I said, who wants to do that? Just let it mix until it's just together. Mix it on low. Just let it all come together. Maybe medium low. Yeah, that looks better. And that looks good. So I will give it one more stir by hand just to make sure it's all together. But that did most of the work for me. Scrape down all of your beaters. Get everything off of here. Don't want to waste a single drop of this delicious batter. Alright, that's good. Take this off. And just give it a good old-fashioned stir. You can even use a whisk if you want. I mean, I'll probably about to switch to the whisk because there's a few lumps in here still. So let's give it a good whisk. With your hand, it's not as hard to develop the gluten, so it doesn't come out tough and stuff. But with the mixer, you definitely, like, 10 seconds too much and it's going to be like a bread or something. We don't want that. We still want it to be, although it's a dense bundt cake, we don't want it to be like a bread. We want it to be nice and moist and fluffy and a little bit delicate. Alright, so that looks good. It's nice, it's smooth, it's thick, but it's going to be delicious. Okay, so now over here, let me kind of clean up my little area. So, of course, we're going to need a bundt pan. Any shape you want is fine. For this, I like more of the classic one because since we're doing all the layering, some of the ones that I have are like a rose shape and it's spirally, but it tends to just kind of fall apart when I put those layers of streusel. So just a regular Bundt pan, you use what you want though, it's totally fine. The recipe calls to butter and flour it. Like I said, do your thing. For me, some good old-fashioned baking spray with flour built in works. It's easy, but hey, if you want to butter this up, sprinkle with some flour, by all means, do it. But for me, this just works fine. Just want to get it all up in there. For some reason, this always smells really good to me. I don't know what it is. Probably some artificial oil in there, but I always enjoy the smell. So spray it really great. If you want anything to stick, Bundt cakes are definitely known for sticking, but with all the olive oil and the sour cream, and then we got the non-stick spray with flour, we should be good. So now it's time to get our delicious streusel. This smells so good. Y'all could just eat this streusel, I'm telling you. So what we're going to do, grab my spatula back, is pour about 1/3 of this in the bottom, and then layer it with some streusel, about half of it. Do another 1/3, more streusel, and then cover it. And it gives us that different layers, and when you cut it open, it just looks great. So just eyeball it, about 1/3. You just kind of want to go around and get the bottom covered. That's about right. Not too much. Get that there. And then we're going to sprinkle the streusel. Oh, that's so good. So we're going to do about half of it. Cover that bottom. You want it all nice. Full of pecans and cinnamon and sugar. Butter, of course. Make sure all that cake is covered. Like I said, about half. That looks pretty good. So just like that. Maybe get a little tappy tap tap just to get it kind of settled. So that is all evenly spread around. Everything's covered. And I'm going to wash it up. I'm going to put this in an oven, 350 degrees. Want to check it at 30 minutes, but it might take up to 50 depending on how it's baking. So when that's done, I will come back and show you the brown butter glaze we're going to put on top. Oh my gosh, it's going to be delicious. Alright, so we're going to start our brown butter glaze for our cake. This is delicious. So just browning the butter, all this does is it develops those flavors, more of like a nutty toffee flavor. So what it is when you toast it or you brown it, is you're just cooking it until the milk solids turn like an amber golden brown. Now it can go really wrong here, so be very careful because it will go from just golden brown to black like that. So you definitely want to watch it. The second you see it starting to kind of turn that golden color, take it off, put it back in your heat-proof bowl, and it will just continue to cook a little bit more. You'll have that perfect golden amber color with that just more developed and advanced flavor. So this is about 3 tablespoons of butter. We're going to put that in here and just mix it around until it starts to melt. Just like a medium heat. You don't want to go too crazy with this. So just get it going. Pay close attention to it, and you will see those milk solids start to turn that golden color. So we'll be right back when it gets browning. So have you ever browned butter before, Ryan?
I have never browned butter before.
I actually have a cookie recipe where I brown the butter beforehand, and it just gives it more of like a complex flavor than just regular butter. It's really good.
Really? What kind of cookie are they?
It's a chocolate chip cookie, but it's just a little more, like I said, complex than just your standard Toll House cookie. It's a little more flavors going through it. It's really good. I'm starting to smell that toffiness.
That smells really good, actually.
I know. It's like almost a caramel toffee color. So you can see that it's turning a little golden brown. I'm going to turn this off. And since this is induction, the heat stops already, so I can leave it here. Throw it up on a gas or electric burner, you want to just completely move it off. So at this point, I'm just going to pour it back into a heat-safe bowl. I want to scrape all of that liquid gold out of here. So that looks great. I'm going to let that cool. Woo! That is hot. All right, we're gonna let that cool off for a few minutes and add the rest of the ingredients to make the glaze once the cake is done baking. So we'll be right back. Oh my gosh, look at this, y'all. So we're gonna have to let it cool for about 10-15 minutes in the pan, just so when we flip it doesn't just fall everywhere. Letting it cool in the pan for a little while just kind of lets everything kind of solidify back up. The sugar can get a little bit hard, that's all up in the cake, and then we'll flip it, and fingers crossed that it all comes out in one smooth piece. So let it cool for about 10 minutes on a cooling rack, and then we'll flip it out. So it's been about 10 minutes. It feels a lot cooler. Not quite cool to the touch, but it's about time to flip it. What I did is just take a butter knife and just kind of go in between the edge of the tin and the cake. There you're just kind of just double checking that there's not a piece sticking, because you do not want this to stick. And I'm praying that when I flip this, it all comes out fine. Like I said, it's a moment of truth, and we're going to see what happens. So hopefully that spray is saving my butt on this one. But yeah, I went around just to double check that nothing's sticking, because it is pretty sticky with that strudel kind of oozing out of it. So, moment of truth, y'all. I am kind of nervous. We're going to see here. All right, so take our rack, put on top upside down, and here we go, y'all. 1, 2, 3, and down. All right, say a prayer with me, everybody. Here we go. I'm gonna give it a tap for good luck, and perfect. Oh my gosh, what a relief. That would have been a huge fail to have that on camera and it not work, but y'all, this looks amazing. You can see like the rings, streusel in the middle, and oh my gosh, this looks really good, y'all. Ron, what do you think? Like, how good? I won't put words in your mouth.
Can I eat it yet? Or
no. We still have to do.
And it doesn't taste good yet. I can't eat it yet.
No, it's not completed. It tastes awful right now on top of the glaze.
I will just eat my pecans.
No, that's for the.
Just one.
I can't work with these conditions, y'all. You see my life. This is my life. My life. Anyway, so what we're going to do now, we're going to let it cool completely, so at least 1 hour. At least. You want it to have like no heat coming off, because when we put the brown butter glaze we're about to make on top, if it's too warm, it's just going to all drip off, and it's not going to stay and stick to the cake and look like beautiful drizzly bundt cake icing. So let it cool for at least an hour. It might even take an hour and a half, depending on what your climate's like where you live. But yeah, let it cool all the way through, and we will put the glaze on it. So we'll be right back when it's cooled off. All right, so our cake has completely cooled. There's no more heat coming off of it, which is perfect for our glaze. So let's go ahead and get this kind of prepped. So let's just move this cake onto our serving, our cake plate here. Get this out of the way. All right, everybody. Now for the glaze. So remember before we browned our butter earlier, we just put it in the skillet, wait till the milk solids got toasted, and gave us this beautiful golden color. Smells delicious, like a toffee, nutty flavor, nutty smell. So the recipe calls for just using the liquid part and not using the brown bits. But personally, for me, I love using the whole thing. I love getting those little pockets of that brown bit butter. So what we're going to do is we have some confectioner sugar here, powdered sugar. It's about 3/4 of a cup, and then a little bit more. I'm just going to add in the butter.
So what's confectioner sugar? Why do you use that instead of regular sugar?
So confectioner sugar, it's also called powdered sugar, so it's been like finely grounded, and they usually add some cornstarch to it just so your baked goods kind of thicken up. So this is used for like icings, frostings, glazes. So it's sugar, it's just been ground up really fine.
Do I have to use that, or can I just use regular sugar? That's usually what I have on hand.
Gotta use powdered sugar for this, or it won't dissolve and it won't be like that silky smooth glaze. It'll be like really gritty. So gotta use powdered sugar, guys. for this. And get all those brown bits out. That is the money there. So, because the recipe doesn't call for that, but I like to do it. We also have a teaspoon of vanilla. These are really good quality vanilla. Flavor just shines through so much more than the imitation stuff. But if all you have is imitation on hand, use it. Gotta have some type of vanilla in there. And then I want to add, I have 3 tablespoons of just whole milk. You can use any kind of milk you want. Almond milk, you can use 2% skim milk. I have whole milk here at the house. It probably only needs 2 tablespoons, but I do 1 at a time because you can always add more, but it's a lot harder to take away. So I'll do about 2 tablespoons worth there. Just give it a mix if you don't get too sweet. So get this garlic here. I want to hold it. It's easier for me this way. Just get some good old-fashioned elbow grease in here. This. That's what we want, guys. That is beautiful. All right. Let me go grab a spoon. And we are going to drizzle this, just spoon it all over, and it's going to look amazing. All right, well, here we go. Just grab it and just go down. Just, you can't mess this up. Just go with it. Just kind of back and forth. Drip it all down the sides. Like so. What do you think so far, Ron?
Looks amazing. When are you going to top it off with the pecans? I've been eating. Is there any left?
There's a few left. He's been nibbling on them.
Hey, let me go grab it for you.
Yeah. Thanks, you're so helpful. Now there's probably none left at all. So you'll probably have a little more than this left over after your filling, but it's okay. It's going to be good. So this is just something that I do. The recipe didn't call for it, but I like to save just that little bit we saved from earlier and just sprinkle it on top. Just to give it that finishing touch. It's pretty, it gives it some visual texture. It gives it some eating texture. I just love it.
And there we have it, guys. What is this cake called again?
This is an olive oil pecan streusel bundt cake with a brown buttered glaze. And there you have it.
So what does this go well with? Like, do I drink coffee or wine, or what do I drink with it?
Actually, do I have to get a cup of coffee?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Alright, so
let me get the coffee cups.
Get some mugs. So I really like mine with just some black coffee. I really think it pairs really well. I actually always have some made on hand here because I'm a big coffee addict. This is actually, I've really been liking this coffee from Veracruz in Mexico. And I'll show you what it looks like. It's really cool. That was open. Yeah, it's this coffee I got in Puerto Vallarta a few weeks ago, and it's one that originates from Veracruz. And it's just so rich, and like the body is heavy, and I just really like it. And it pairs really well with something super sweet like this. So it's a good cake to have with coffee. It's good with milk. It's good after dinner. I also like it for breakfast sometimes with my morning coffee. It's
okay,
really
can we just cut the cake down and eat? Because I'm hungry.
Okay, sorry. We can cut the cake down. Juan's impatient. He can't appreciate the beauty and just let me have my moment. Thank you. I'll do the honors. So, let's...
I'm going to take a video of you cutting it because it's so good.
We got to get it for the views. You ready?
Oh my gosh. This looks amazing.
Okay, here we go. Oh, look at that. Oh my gosh. That looks amazing. Let me see. Oh my gosh. Oh, and I love like all the glaze left. Okay. Anyways, hand me some forks.
Forks?
Yes. Grab with his hands. Sip some coffee after, I promise. It pairs so good.
Can I do the honors? Or I'll let you do that. Since you baked it, I'll let you do the honors.
Okay, well, we'll just see. We'll say goodbye to everybody at home watching this. So thank you so much for watching the video. Please like, subscribe, hit the little notification bell. If you don't like Ron, hit the dislike button so we know.
Don't do that. Hit the dislike for him. I'll know it's for him.
It's true. Anyways, thank you so much for watching.
Thanks guys for watching RK Living.
Oh, That's my piece. Okay, here we go.
Cheers. Cheers.
Alright.
That's really good.
Wow. You gotta try this.
At least to put pecans on top.
It's perfect the way it is. Don't listen to him.
Mm.
It's great. Thank you all so much. Bye.
So, it's fine.